Good morning. Welcome back to the show. James Rule, XRP, Wednesday, July 30th, 2025. I tell you what, we're supposed to get some information today from the President's Working Group on digital asset legislation and rules and reserves and taxes. And I don't know how much of that we'll get, but today we're going to look at Bitcoin. We're going to look at XRP. We're going to look at the difference. We're going to look at all the Bitcoin maxis and CEOs are calling Bitcoin the best form of payment. And we're also going to look at a response from David Schwartz, CTO at Ripple, as he lengthily responded to someone out there putting accusations, and David nipped it in the bud. But before we get started, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a crypto teacher. I go by @RuleXRP. So I'm not going to talk about sponsors today, but I am going to talk about something real quick. So a few weeks ago, I sent out a poll on X. I said, ladies, what's the best men's cologne? And I probably had a couple of hundred responses. You know, I had several of this. I love the smell of this. I love the smell of it. So I took down and I noted the responses, and I ordered a bunch of samples, and I think I have picked a winner. Spicebomb Extreme by Victor and Rolf. And it's different, but I got more responses to this cologne at the country bar the other night than I've ever gotten in my life. It's kind of spicy. One of the ladies said I smelled like pumpkin spice. It has hints of spice, hints of vanilla, hints of tobacco. I love the smell myself. So this is the winner I picked, and I want to thank all the ladies and guys out there for all the responses. Spicebomb Extreme is how you're going to smell me when you meet me. All right, let's take a look at the crypto numbers. Total market cap, $4 trillion plus. Bitcoin's at 118, 169. It's up a little bit. Ethereum's at 37.84. XRP's hanging around 310. And people are like, well, XRP's down. It was 340. It was 360. It's down. I'm disappointed. Well, you know what? If you've been here as long as I have, and as long as many others out there that have been here over a year, $3.10 is not bad, people. $3.10 is not bad. And you know the neat thing about it, $3.10 is going to be history in the very near future. It's 6 o'clock in the morning here in Texas. I'm up early. And I'm passionate about getting all this information out to you. I'm going to read some things today. This video might stretch out a little bit longer, but you know what? You're going to get educated. You're going to say, well, damn, James, I appreciate you, sharing that information with me. It was very educational. I'm going to share it with my friends. I'm going to share it with my family. I'm going to share it with my boss. And they're going to learn more about crypto. So let's keep going. So yesterday, supposedly an earthquake magnitude 8.7 off of Russia triggers tsunami alert for Japan and Alaska. And I said, Crypto Eddie, I said, are you okay? She's in Japan. And she said, absolutely. She said the first 3-meter wave is expected. So they're looking at 9-foot waves. But like I said, if you live on the coast or anywhere near a coast and you get a 9-foot wave, I mean, that's devastating. Hopefully she's on higher ground. And I also asked my friends in Hawaii this morning if everything's okay, because I don't know if that massive wave has hit Hawaii yet. I don't know. If you're from Hawaii watching this video, please leave a response in the comments of this video. My prayers go out to everybody that is or that is going to be affected by this tsunami. Okay, Phil and Dom got to go to Wall Street the other day. Phil and Dom, Easy A, awesome. They were at the New York Stock Exchange, and check this out. Ripple is everywhere. Look at this little clip.
You look lonely.
The look on their face, and all of a sudden, wow, there's Ripple. Let's play it one more time. Look at the look on their faces right here. What? We're on Wall Street, and we look over there, and we see Ripple. Ripple's happening, crypto's happening, XRP's happening, RLUSD's happening. All these other wonderful blockchain ecosystems are happening, people. Do you have your moon boots on? Do you have your belt buckled? Are you buckled in? Are you locked in? Are you backing up the truck, people? Right here, lock the F in. Ripple came out with a report yesterday or day before how traditional finance invest in blockchain. Stablecoin transaction volumes reached $700 billion per month in early 2025, and Boston Consulting Group projects nearly $19 trillion in tokenized assets by 2033. That's 8 years from now. Ripple's own research found that 90% of global finance leaders expect blockchain to have a significant or massive impact on finance in the next 3 years, people. 3 years is a blip on the map. When you get my age, 58, 3 years is nothing. You cough, you go to sleep, you wake up, and it's 3 years later. This is the report, Ripple.com, how traditional finance is investing in blockchain. And if we go down here, this is the part I just read you. Look here, it says growing adoption is fueled by blockchain's proven benefits: near instant settlement, low cost transactions, 24/7 availability, increased transparency. That sounds like XRP and the XRP ledger. Banks and financial institutions are no longer deliberating on its impact, but instead integrating the technology as a foundational component of modern finance. Crypto is happening. Financial institutions are starting to accept this technology because they know it's faster. They know it's cheaper. They know it's more beneficial. They know it's transparent. Why would they not accept these ecosystems that have been out for a decade or more? Or try to create their own, or try to mimic? Why would they mirror? Why would they try to create their own when the proven ones have been out there for years and years? So today we are expecting something from President Trump in the White House. It says the crypto industry braces for incoming White House regulatory Bible on rules, Bitcoin reserves, and taxes. And it's also more than just Bitcoin reserves. It's President Trump put out on Truth Social that it might be XRP and XLM and Solana and ADA and others. Cardi Cobone, the CEO at the Digital Chamber, called the incoming report a regulatory Bible or guidebook. A source familiar with the matter said so far there seems to be nothing in the report that talks about Bitcoin reserves, but said that changes could change on the fly. It says this report is part of an executive order issued by President Donald Trump in January that creates the President's Working Group on Digital Asset Markets. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, and Securities and Exchange Commissioner Chair Paul Atkins are among members of that group. As part of the executive order, they were tasking with submitting a report that laid out recommendations for a regulatory framework of digital assets. I'm not going to read the rest of this. I'll leave everything that I talk about in the description of this video. But yesterday, the SEC announced the in-kind, trading or cashing out of digital assets in crypto ETPs. So, on that note, when is the SEC, I want you to hear this. When is the Ripple lawsuit going to end? Because Ripple and the SEC have already agreed. When is this going to end? Is it going to end today? Is it going to end tomorrow? Is it going to end in August? We're waiting on that answer. So SoFi outlines ambitious crypto roadmap, including stablecoin launch. The CEO of SoFi says the banking license gives competitive advantage as fintech joins the race with Robinhood and eToro. I mean, right here, the CEO of SoFi said that we see opportunities across our entire platform, including offering stable coins, providing members the ability to borrow against their crypto assets, expanding payment options, and introducing new staking features. So payment providers, banks, institutions are starting to wake up to crypto, because if they don't, they're going to get left behind, people. Okay, I'm going to try to read this as quick as I can. David Schwartz, CTO at Ripple. I got to meet him in Vegas. Wonderful individual. They're saying he's Satoshi Nakamoto. I don't know. XRP, the XRP ledger, which he helped co-create, was created to be a better Bitcoin. So we have this guy here, Andre Geek. I think he has a YouTube channel. He asks these questions, and David Schwartz spits it out. He goes, okay, this is what Andre had to say. He said, I know people are very opinionated about this, but I've seen I've been following XRP since 2014, and I have still not found the answers to these questions. Genuinely looking for thoughtful responses. Okay, here's the questions. Ripple has over 300 bank partnerships, but after 13 years, shouldn't there be billions in daily on-chain volume? If XRP is volatile, why use it over stable coins for transfers? If volatility is not an issue because it's a bridge currency, what is the incentive to hold it? I mean, really? Are bridge currencies still necessary when stablecoins will cover most pairs in the future? Why would giants like BlackRock use the XRP ledger for tokenization instead of building their own blockchain? Robinhood uses Arbitrum and plans their own. Geopolitical risk. Why would foreign countries trust a U.S.-based private company payment network? Well, for your information, the XRP ledger is worldwide. But anyway, he's going to explain that here. David Schwartz at Joel Katz. Ripple has over 300 bank partnerships, but after 13 years, shouldn't there be billions in daily on-chain volume? Well, I think there are a number of reasons why institutions have historically preferred to use digital assets off-chain rather than on-chain. I think we're close to changing that because institutions are starting to see the benefits of moving on-chain, but I agree it has been very slow. Even Ripple can't use the XRP ledger DEX for payments yet because we can't be sure a terrorist won't provide the liquidity for payment. Features like permission domains will address this. If XRP is volatile, why use it over stablecoins and transfers? There are use cases where volatility isn't a minus or is even a plus. Generally, for most digital assets, the general view is that the upside is worth more than the downside. So as long as you aren't very risk adverse, holding it is not really a disadvantage. If volatility is not an issue because it's a bridge currency, what's the incentive to hold it? Well, a bridge currency only works if someone is holding it so that you can get it precisely when you need it. But I think that in practice, if you don't know what asset you will need to hold next, you may hold the dominant bridge currency because it should be cheaper to exchange into whatever you happen to need next. Bada bing, bada bong. Are bridge currencies still necessary when stablecoins will cover most of the pairs in the future? If one stablecoin wins, then no. You would just use that one stablecoin as a bridge currency. But I don't think one stablecoin can win for several reasons, including that a stablecoin can only be stable relative to one particular fiat currency and will always have jurisdictional ties. If we're in a multi-stablecoin world, it would make sense to have a bridge asset that serves the long tail of tokenized securities, loan portfolios, and so on. Why would giants like BlackRock use the XRP ledger for tokenization instead of building their own blockchain? Robinhood uses Arbitrum and plans their own. Well, this is David's response. I'm not sure how much that will really matter so long as we have interoperability and asset portability. Multiple chains are a good form of scalability as well, but I think the best way to see why they might is to ask the same question about Circle. Why don't they launch USDC on their own blockchain? You could see why that's obviously silly. I think the same kind of logic will apply to tokenized real-world assets over the next year or two. Geopolitical risk. Why would foreign countries trust a U.S.-based private company payment network? Here you go. If you're asking about the XRP ledger, it's not really U.S.-based. It's never discriminated against any particular participant, and if it ever started to, I would hope people would stop using it. If you mean Ripple's enterprise payment protocols, we have separate licensed entities in many jurisdictions, but obviously you're not going to see it in North Korea or Cuba anytime soon, and there might be in some cases pushback to a U.S. company having some control over, say, payments between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. But we build trust and make hay where the sun shines. And right here, somebody posted one of these stupid ass Brad Garlinghouse AI giveaways, and David Schwartz said, "It's scammer time." Next, Brian Armstrong. He is the CEO at Coinbase. Look what he had to say. He said, "Bitcoin is probably the best form of money ever created." And I disagree because XRP is a better Bitcoin, faster, cheaper, and more efficient. Listen.
Bitcoin is probably the best form of money that's ever created.
What is money to you?
Yeah. Well, to me, money is really like a medium of exchange. And it came out of this need from the barter system not fully working, right? Like if I grow apples and you raise beef and I kind of want some beef, but you don't need my apples right now, you got enough apples, it's like that's a barrier to a trade happening, right? So it helps if we have this common medium of exchange that can be used to price things and just allow a transaction to happen even if you don't need the exact good that I produce, right? And over time, lots of things have been used as money, right? Like people used salt as money at one point. In prisons, people use like cigarettes or different food items as money. Seashells, famously, all these like kind of things. And there's certain properties of money that make it good money or bad money, right? Like scarcity is one of those. Can people just can you just find a bunch more seashells on the ocean, on the beach? Then that's like a bad form of money, right? Or durability, like will the thing deteriorate over time? Like bread or something like that is probably like a bad form of currency because it goes bad, it rots.
You think
right?
so, Brian? You think so?
How portable is it? Like a bar of gold is great as like a store of value, which by the way is another good property of money, but it's hard to move gold. Like if I need to pay somebody in Japan, like I need to fly that bar of gold, right? Or how subdivisible is it, right? Can I like chip off a little flake of gold to pay for my coffee, or So people look at these different properties of money, and you can kind of score different monies. And like this is partly why I think Bitcoin is probably the best form of money that's ever created, because it is scarce, provably scarce, just like gold or something like that. But it's more portable than gold. You can send a Bitcoin transaction kind of anywhere in the world pretty quickly.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut him off right there. Pretty quickly. Not as fast as XRP, Brian. Here's an article from OneSafe. It says Bitcoin versus XRP, the future of B2B crypto payment platforms. And if we go in here and we look at this article, it says, as the crypto world keeps changing at lightning speed, the battle of Bitcoin and XRP heats up. Businesses are looking for better payment solutions, and while Bitcoin gets called digital gold, its slow transaction times and high fees make you wonder if it's really practical for daily use. There you go, baby. Did y'all hear that, Bitcoin maxis? Did you hear that, Michael Saylor and everybody else out there? Then there's XRP, which seems to be stepping up with its quick transactions and low cost. In the post, let's dig into what Bitcoin and XRP are doing in the crypto scene and what it means for B2B crypto payment platforms. Bitcoin worth holding, but not fast enough. XRP, the business-friendly option. B2B crypto payment platforms where transactions are headed. And it's talking about XRP, the XRP ledger. Fast, efficient payments. So, to me, if it wasn't, so of course, if it wasn't for Bitcoin, we wouldn't have XRP and all these other wonderful ecosystems. So, Bitcoin, the blockbuster video of payments, the rotary phone of cell phones, and XRP is like, the high speed internet, the blockbuster, the internet of value, sending payments as fast as you can send an email. And a lot of people are like, well, I could send you a Bitcoin and I could pay for my coffee. Well, you know what? That coffee is going to be cold before they receive that Bitcoin payment. If you buy coffee with XRP in 3 to 5 seconds, it's immediate. You don't have to worry about a central intermediary. You just got my XRP. I paid for things years ago with my Uphold MasterCard. And it was crypto enabled, and I would spend my XRP at the pump. I'd spend my XRP at Walmart, at the bar, wherever I went. I could purchase things in my XRP, and that's what PayPal's doing. That's what other centralized exchanges already have. And but as far as sending it through a decentralized network like the XRP ledger, XRP is way more efficient than the original Bitcoin. So, educating the masses, the James Rule Crypto Show. Subscribe, share. I'm going to get out and work in the yard today. This is day 2 of keto. So my next video, you may hear my tummy rumbling, but we're good. And I smell good. So have a good day. We'll see you on the next video. James Rule, XRP is out of here. I Told you so.